This is a video for how to go about creating number 6 out of your 20 ISOs project in Fusion 360. So we will double click on number 6 and we will go ahead and open up the part in our graphics window, and we will go down to drawing and we will go to from design. We're going to stay with our PLTW title block. We will say OK. Once the drawing loads, we'll go ahead and stay with this as our front view. Let's go ahead and change our scale to 1 to 3. We'll go ahead and place our front view. We'll say OK. Go to projected view, click on your front, top, right side, isometric view. Let's right click and say OK. Let's go ahead and double click on our blue line and we will change this to shaded and we will say close. Now within this object you will notice that we do have for ourselves a diagonal line right here. We'll choose to dimension this object between different views. We might not be able to place all of our dimensions just, on that front view, because again, we could come in and dimension like this, but we want to say, does this look like part of the object? That could be up for debate. I'd tell you what, for the sake of the way this looks, we'll just go ahead and keep it the way it is right here, which is fine. You could make another argument, which I could totally understand. You might say, you know what, I don't really think that we should place this here. I think we should place this up here in the top view and say, from here to here, let's place that up here in the top so this is totally open. And if we chose to come in here and do like some kind of an angled dimension, I could say 135 degrees here. You know that 135 plus 45 is going to equal 180 degrees, which is a straight line. So we could place that there and ignore the 9 if we wanted to, but we'll go ahead and delete this. So just as a reminder that, as long as you are within the rules, there's no real wrong way to completely dimension an object. The main goal is communication of dimensions. That's why you're placing dimensions on an object. You want whoever's building this to have absolutely zero chance to read the drawing wrong. So we'll now place the height dimensions for the object, and the question that we have now for the height dimension is, can we place from here to here and drag over and this doesn't look like part of the object? We can go ahead and say yes in this case. So we'll go ahead and place that 5 on the front. We'll say OK, and we'll go ahead and place our location dimension for this smaller vertical line in the side view. If by chance you thought we shouldn't have placed this here and you placed it over here on the side, again, you wouldn't necessarily be wrong. You're just doing your absolute best to always have adjacency for the views. Now that's the reason why you give an isometric view, because that person should be able to look at this and think there's no way, because there's no horizontal or vertical line coming off this thing. It should be easy to see. Our next dimensions that we'll place will be our depth dimensions. So we could have a discussion about placing both dimensions over here in the side view. We could place, the full depth dimensions up here in the top, because again, we would be placing a dimension by going through an object. So like one thing we don't want to do here is we really don't want to drag through an object like that. We always want to avoid that. So for the sake of this drawing, I'm going to place this depth dimension over here on our side view. We could have placed the full depth over here if we chose to, but again, the question is, does this make it look like this is part of the object? That is up to you. So when I place dimensions like this, I always try to think to be as clear in my communication as I possibly can be. Whoever is reading the drawing should know that we get depth dimensions in the top and side view, we get height dimensions in the front and the side, and we get width dimensions in only the front view and the top view. Now we have not dimensioned this line down here, because you'll notice that when we come in and dimension it, that was a little bit out to like a specific point, because we drew a line and cut. Like you notice that's a distance of 7. We could place that in the top view if we viewed that as absolutely necessary. I always view that something is completely dimensioned when it's dimensioned in a way that otherwise you have nothing else left to place and the person could still build it. We can tell if we draw a horizontal line from the back of the object all the way to the front right here, and it's a distance up of 2, that's going to create itself. So if we ignore this horizontal line here and we only drew this part, if we come up 2 and draw a line over, that will create itself. We don't necessarily have to place that. But for the sake of just doing the drawing, we're going to go ahead and place that 7. Notice that we are not redundant. We haven't done anything twice. We have not dimensioned any hidden lines because there are no hidden lines, and we've maintained adjacency the best as possible. So this has been a video on how to fully dimension and create a drawing for number 6 in your 20 ISOs project in Fusion 360.